Nose hair everywhere. Anyway, we're here to review a viewer submitted game. Our beloved Andre here has submitted a game that he played against. Who did you play this game against, Andre? Was this a Dreamer game or no? Andre has played White. It was turn zero. I don't know much backstory about this game. Andre submitted it forever ago. It was like 4 or 5 streams ago, and we're finally getting around to analyzing it. But it was an Andre game, and it was relatively short, so you know it's going to be a good one. I'm actually kind of glad that 5D freed me of arrow drawing habit. It's against Dreamer. Ah, okay. Andre, Dreamer game. Hell yes. Okay. The Russian El Clasico. Are you going to participate in the prelim of the anniversary tourney, Samet? Los wasn't here. I learned about the prelims for the anniversary tourney at the beginning of stream, and I played 3 of my prelim games already. So yeah, you can check the results page. Already ahead of you. All right. This is just a game against Dreamer. Dreamer had black, Andre had white. I'm very excited about this game. Let's jump into it. Okay. We began with E3. It wouldn't be Andre. Andre, for those of you who don't know, has sworn like a blood oath to open E3 every game of 5D chess that he plays in perpetuity. Except for our 2 timelines game where he opened D4 and I thought he was an imposter. It was pretty sus. Bro, Andre plays games against me and then sells them. I get no pay for that. Andre had to pay his hard-earned channel points for this. Actually, I get paid in rating. Never mind. Oh my god. He's making stretch claims just to humble brag on the stream. Big oof coming out of Dreamer. Okay. E3. E3 is great. Why is E3 great? It just gives you a lot of really interesting attacking opportunities against people who play the classic London type setup as black, I think. Some people say, coming for you, Dreamer, someday. I mean, Andre gets, relatively frequent wins against Dreamer. I think it's still Dreamer-sided, but, I mean, I don't think there's a massive gap. I believe that Andre is going to come for Dreamer someday. In the meantime, here we go. It'll be interesting to see, especially if, well, okay, I won't get ahead of myself, but I'm always interested to see, because it's so potent to be on the other end of this against Andre. He's just real good, and he's got tricksy, aggressive tactics, so I'm curious to see how our very own Dreamer is going to take care of this. It wasn't the highest quality game. Okay, this is a shit show, not like an intensely competitive. All right, well, knight f6 is how Dreamer starts. Thanks, you're black. You play knight f6 against f7. Everyone knows by now why knight f6 happens. Knight f3 is next. Sensible. I mean, you got to play knight f3 eventually. A, it's a sensible developing move anyway for any aggressive ideas that you have. B, it prevents a turn 1 f7 sec. Turn 0 f7 sec is of course still possible when you open e3, but you kind of have to bend over backwards to get it as black. But it's very cool anyway. Okay. So, knight f3, nothing crazy here. Ooh, we start c6 as black. Oops, getting an incoming call on my, can I silence my phone so it stops? It is silent, but okay, there we go. Nope, it's still vibrating. Dude, how do I make it stop? Please, hello, phone. I'll put it in my pocket so it doesn't vibrate on the desk and make noise. Okay. All right. C6 is interesting. I mean, sure, why not? You're probably going to play d5 anyway. I don't think that mixing up the order actually means anything, right? I mean, I guess it gives you the opportunity to play something Like, in what world are you not going to play d5 next? I don't know. I guess it technically doesn't railroad you into playing d5. Maybe if you want to do something trixier. I mean, you can't get the f7, but I mean, you don't have to play d5. Like, if white now plays c3, threatening bishop b3, you can always play bishop b6 immediately, I guess. Maybe that's the idea. I don't know, but let's see what happens here. Probably d5 is going to come out next, but let's just see. Ooh, we have the immediate b3. Immediate b3 coming out of Andre. So this Frappuccino, in all of these e3 setups, I mean, obviously, if you play e3, there's no way to get this dark square bishop into the game other than to Frappuccino, right? So that's clear, but also it plays an incredible role of piling up pressure onto the f6 knight. So it makes sense. I think usually I see Andre play h3 first to prevent this knight from hopping in here, which is a bit of a surprise to see the immediate b3. But the b3 comes out. We're looking to Frappuccino immediately. Okay, we do get d5 out of Dreamer. It's the classic London system. It makes sense. Oh, it's this game. I don't remember it, though. How do you know Dreamer? Yeah, so far it's started. Well, I guess Dreamer doesn't play c6 very often if he recognizes right off the bat that this is what happened. We played more than one game from this position? No? All right. So far, so normal, except usually I see h3 immediately. But that's it. Okay, so we get the immediate Frappuccino from Andre, which makes sense. Maybe early c6 gave it away. Yeah, I figure. Yeah, otherwise I'm sure you guys have played tons of games from this position, right? It's just the most common black opening against the only Andre opening, with the exception of h3 not happening. Okay, so bishop b2 happens. In response, we get bishop g4. Okay, so rather than the usual bishop f5, which we see very frequently, in some sense, pinning this knight here to the f2 pawn, we get... Actually, I've seen this in a lot of games recently. I don't know if this is a new meta, but we get the classic pin the knight to the queen. Makes sense. Bishop g4 coming right out of Dreamer. So here you have to, I mean, you have a decision to make as white, right? Do you play this move, which you were probably planning on playing anyway? Okay, I remembered it. Dreamer remembers this game, apparently. Good to hear that it's memorable. It means we're going to see something interesting. You probably wanted to play h3 anyway, like I've been saying. So kicking this bishop isn't the worst, but then it just comes back, and then it defends f7. Like, I don't agree with the kicking the bishop back and then kicking it again situation. Actually, that's what Andre did in our Two Timelines game recently. It's hard to say whether that position was better for him or not, if it was single timeline rather than two timelines, but I don't know. Why you want to play h3 anyway? It weakens g3. I mean, it certainly weakens g3. I completely agree with you. But the flip side of that is, it prevents the knight from hopping in to g4, which is the start of a lot of headaches. Would you not agree, Andre? Especially in these e3 positions? No. I think h3 kind of evens out. Oh, also, I've just seen you play h3 like almost every game that you've played this anyway. I think it's evident that h3 is probably preferable out of this position. I don't know. Maybe you know better than I, being the person who plays this. I plan to stop. Okay. I don't know. I think it's clear why h3 is a good move. It takes away space more importantly than the space that it weakens, which I recognize it weakens the g3 square, but I don't know. Let's just see how it turns out. Evidently, immediate h3 is not played by white. Andre's not worried about this. Andre plays knight e5. Interesting. Okay. What? Oh, bishop e2 first. Oh, thank God. Okay, sorry. I misread the 5D PGN. I was like, what is happening? All right, bishop e2 happens first. All right, we went back and read over. All right, in the chat, everyone's like, what's going on? Yeah, okay. Sorry, spoilers. 95 happens next move. It's hard. All the moves blend together, man. It's hard to read the notation. Okay. Bishop e2 is obvious. I mean, this is like the classical chess response, right? I mean, the trade, you don't want to, you know... Then again, recapturing with the queen is... I mean, you want to break the pin. You want to be able to move with this knight because a lot of the attacks onto this, you know... I mean, you launch an attack primarily by shifting your knight up to g5 or e5, right? So you got to unpin. This is, you know, nothing special here. Bishop e2 makes perfect sense. I mean, I think that h3 would have also made sense, but I don't have strong enough feelings to sort of judge one over the other. Here, e6 happens. Again, super standard. e6, I mean, you're opening the door for your queen to defend the knight and also to have vision of this g4 square. And B, if pressure begins to accumulate onto f7, this enables you to play something like queen c7, eyeing up f7. I mean, do you open the eyes of this bishop? It just makes sense, right? I mean, this is why the immediate light square bishop move is almost always followed up by e6. You get the bishop out of there first so that you're not trapping it, like a French-style bishop. Or is the French bishop the other direction? No, this is... Yeah. French bishop is that bishop. Do you prettify the notation? No, I don't. I don't prettify the notation at all. So it's the 5D PGN where it's like redundant and there's a lot of... Listen, it's not the easiest thing to read, all right? No surprising moves from Dreamer, so boring. Literally read with same tone as cement. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm saying that it's solid. It makes sense. Listen, would you disagree? Granted, the bishop pin is, you know, we most frequently see bishop f5, right? So g4 is almost a novelty. It's not meant... The game doesn't have to be bombastically exciting like 4 moves in. There's no negative connotation to not being surprised by Dreamer's moves. Just saying. But it's sensible. It's sensible. I mean, this is the move that I would make. You're developing your pieces. It's clear. Needs no explanation. Prettifying is a lot easier to read, in my opinion. Oh, completely agree, but I just grab PGNs directly. Maybe this way, Los will empathize with me that it's a lot more difficult to read straight up, so he will forgive my transgressions. Okay. All right, 95 happens. Okay, this is interesting. I mean, we get the immediate hop in. I guess not playing h3 here makes sense. Like the bishop e2 is prioritizing. I mean, like arguably it's weakening g2, but at the end of the day, is that big of a deal? Here it's interesting because it places pressure. Okay, so 95, obvious things that 95 does. Puts pressure on f7. Simultaneously, it attacks the bishop with not 1 but 2 pieces, right? So there's a link that automatically prettifies the notation. Ah, I see. Good to know. The bishop's being attacked by this knight, which is also attacking f7. The knight is obviously not under attack in this position. It does open up f7 for a travel, or f2 rather. It weakens the f file, right? But now white has to make, or black has to make a decision. If black chooses to do something about the bishop, not that there's very much choice there, I think. then black, okay, white is asking black a question here. The question is this. Do you have a counter threat to the threats that I'm making? Because if you don't, then you're in a very unfavorable position. Why? First of all, obviously, this piece is getting doubly attacked, right? And so it's only got one defender, so if you don't do anything about it, I mean, obvious chess is obvious, you're going to lose the piece, you're going to lose material. If you do choose to do something about it, like bolster with something like h5, let's just lock this in. If you bolster with h5, then, you know, after takes, I mean, your takes. The issue is that you have provided the white player, after all of that exchange, with a board where I guess you do it the opposite way, right? Well, unclear. Takes, and then, let me think about it for a second. Let me finish that thought before I go into the think tank. I mean, obviously, if like this trade occurs, then you recapture. There's a board on which you've got a knight trained on f7 that you can travel to, and your queen is going to have no difficulty. Well, actually, it wouldn't be that board, because if you travel to this board, then your king is in check, so it doesn't work that way. But I mean, with the queen grabbed here, it's obvious that you're going to run into some trouble here, right? Especially if you've got like knight takes, unless this queen is here to defend f7, then you're going to have some tricky like bishop takes here, and then queen goes out to h5 and then recapture situation. So it's ugly. White is planning the knight here, the bishop trained onto the f6 knight, and the queen's path to h5. Those are all the ingredients for like a classic 5D chess. A lethal combination, right? I mean, the ingredients are there. Banned words have been disabled, right? Yeah, no, there's a maximum of 5 gift subs on the banned words. So I'm not going to go broke right now. You've already... I mean, I feel like the $50 worth of gift subs is sufficient for 20k points. Even if I get half of it back, the viewers receive a $50 value. So yeah. Crazy isn't here to haggle with me about post... you know, having to do like push-ups or something beyond the initial 5. So I'm just going to ignore... I'm going to ignore the banned words for the sake of the analysis, just so that we can get through this somewhat coherently. Because I also will enjoy it more, and hopefully, you know, you'll enjoy the analysis more if I'm not bending over backwards to articulate myself in a way that doesn't cost me physical labor. Okay. So we've got the attacks onto this bishop. Double attack. We've got the knight trained onto f7. This seems unfavorable for black. If black doesn't have a counterattack. If you were crazy, though, I don't think something like bishop f5 gets the job done, threatening like a travel onto f2. Especially because probably like knight recaptures. Knight captures here is a pain in the ass. If bishop's out here, right? I mean, you ignore, you lose an exchange. If you capture here, then you've got the check, and then this is mate. So that's not really an option. I'm wondering if in this position, like, what are black's moves? Okay, there's bishop h5, which defends f7, but at the end of the day, doesn't, you know, this bishop is doubly attacked, right? Like, Bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, and then you lose to travel the next turn, obviously, isn't ideal. So actually, what can you do here? h5 is maybe an idea. I think you're safe after h5 and all of the exchanges happen, after you trade down. The other option is going balls deep yourself. With like knight e4, does that actually lead to anything? With the bishop here, maybe, right? There's knight out, and then you've got queen h4 coming after, because if you've got knight takes f2, like king takes, bishop check, and then queen h4 is mate. And you can, then again, if you feel like you can ignore knight takes f7, then probably your opponent can ignore a knight takes f7 after your knight takes f7. Unless there's a... Well, the thing... Okay, there's a difference here because black can get to h4 when white can't get to h4 with their queen. So actually, maybe you've got like knight takes f7, queen h4 wins. Actually, knight e4 might be a move here. Huh. All because of this bishop. On g4, that's interesting. h5 looks interesting, arguing that you can get an open file. Yeah, I see h5. I think... yeah, h5. Yeah, I mean, the half-open file is always actually pretty strong in 5D chess. I mean, you are, like, underdeveloped. With the bishop here... it's like trading the queen activity for the open file. And it's not hard to repopulate f6 if you trade down. It's hard to say. It's hard to say which is better. Certainly the asymmetry, I actually don't see this position very often. So it's interesting. Knight e4, wow, this guy must be a genius if he played like that. I bet he's not that great to play. All right, I wonder what Dreamer's next move was. Yeah, you should train hard to play like him. Okay, okay. I actually would expect Dreamer to play like a solid h5 here. That's not true. I don't know very much about Dreamer's playstyle because it's been so long since I've played him. I just know that he likes to play very solid and he doesn't go for like wild like f7, f2 combinations very early on. He's not... I wouldn't describe Dreamer's style as very greedy. I would describe it as very solid. Oh, fantastic. I haven't smote a bot in a while here. There we go. Okay. All right. So let's see what happens. Knight e5. Okay. Knight. Turn 6. Knight f6 e4. Okay. Okay. Knight e4 happens. Okay. Great. Okay. Cool. All right. So we just explained the options. There was h5. There was knight e4. Knight e4. I mean. Okay, confirmation bias, but it looks really solid. You kind of have to respond here, yeah? Okay, what do white do here? So we know the threat, the reason that this response is possible, like e5 and then e4, because it looks like black makes the same attack except a turn later, right? You're down a tempo. It's because queen h4 here is possible. So what do you do here as white? How do you respond? Okay, I mean, it's like literal suicide to go knight takes e7, right? Or knight takes f7. So knight takes f7, queen h4, and then you lose? Question mark? Yeah, because then goes here, and then king takes, and then check, and then queen mate. Or takes here, check, and then queen... Like check here and then check here and then mate, whatever. Right, so f7 obviously not an option. Probably you want to deal with this bishop. Actually, this is hard to deal with, isn't it? So how do you get rid of this knight here? You can take with the knight, and when the f file is open like this, when the f-file's open like this, it's probably better to have a bishop than a knight. And taking here with the knight defends f2. So I think knight takes g4. The only other obvious option is bishop takes g4. Is this better? Okay, well, what's better about the bishop move is that it mobilizes another piece rather than like pulling back your forward piece, you know? I mean, if you're a Chad, then a backwards knight move like this feels bad, man. Whereas here, you're maintaining your attack on f7, so that's attractive, right? This feels like a more Andre move. But is it dangerous? It might be dangerous. What do you do against queen h4 here? Because it goes back to here on this board? Takes? Or you can travel back to this board. In which case the knight recaptures, and you can't get a queen recapture in on time, so I think it's safe. I think it's safe to do the bishop move. I think the knight move's more solid. I would probably personally play the knight move here just because I'd really want another defender on f2, and I feel like with this bishop here, I feel pretty good anyway. Right? Here I got greedy. Funnily enough, it looks already quite bad for white, if not busted. Maybe like g3, but there's still a vector for attack. It's not safe, smiley face. Okay. How free to... Okay. Sorry, let's call here. Sorry. My family is messaging me. I have to let them know that I'm streaming. Okay, sorry about that. All right, fantastic. Okay, I think that this is probably what Andre meant by being greedy, right? Let's see. Turn 7. Okay, but yeah, bishop e2 g4. Yeah, okay. So this is what Andre plays. I thought that this would be safe because you could like bishop travel from this turn onto g7, and that's enough turns back for there to be a knight that can recapture on f2. But there's another vector for attack? Okay. Well, this is what Andre meant by I got greedy. Yeah, here it looks... I'm shocked by how, like, 6 turns into the game, it looks bad for white. That makes a lot of sense, like, analyzing the position the way that we have, even from, like, a cursory glance. Yeah, I think that this backwards move is disciplined, and actually that position... I mean, am I crazy in saying that, like, this knight move here looks much better for white? Like, that position looks about as better for white as this position looks better for black. Although maybe the vector for attack is not the one that I was calculating. Maybe it's something completely different, so I don't have a good basis to actually say that. G3 was probably the move. I thought I'd have enough counterplay on E6. Right. The E6 counterplay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because here, the idea is that you've got 2 pieces looking at E6. I mean, it doesn't seem like this piece is looking at E6, but, you know, if you get, like, a knight travel to here 2 turns, in, like, onto this board, then only legal move, because it will check the king on the other board, is pawn takes, and then the bishop takes is mate. Unless, you know, it's soft mate. So that looks good. G3 here on this board also makes sense. I like knight takes. You guys don't like knight takes? Is knight takes an issue? G3 here, obviously, just to eliminate any... you know, if h4 isn't accessible to the black queen, then you have much less to worry about. I mean, granted, you still opened up your f file with the knight out here like that. So, I mean, g3 here still allows something like queen f6 next turn and then a travel to this board, right? Am I not wrong? Then bishop f3 and force an exchange with queen f6. It was at this moment that I knew. And I spent almost all my time here. Yeah, on the next move, I mean. Knight takes seem to run into the same problem. Okay. Wow, let's see how this shakes out. It's crazy that like this Ooh, excuse me. This early into the game, you're already so on the back foot in an e3 position like this. But wow, bishop g4 has got a lot of merit, evidently. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Next move, queen h4, which is what I anticipated. This is the avenue of attack that I was referring to. I mean, here you're obviously threatening like a travel to this board. You know, there could be like a counter travel knight recaptures situation. But actually there can't be a counter travel knight recapture situation unless you can travel with check. Simply because this bishop captures this knight and then prevents you from being able to do that. Which is the other merit to playing bishop g4 is that the knight on f3 on the other timeline doesn't get to defend f2 two timelines away. So yeah. The thing is that if white manages to travel to f7 with a bishop or queen, it would be soft mate. Oh, okay. That's a fantastic point, right? Knight takes also runs into the same problem. Like, yes, it defends f2, but it doesn't defend on the turn where you have to defend f2, right? Knight takes defends f2 on this board, but the travel is happening to this board, so the only way to prevent it would probably be to prevent the travel in the first place, which would be with g3. I guess alternatively h4. G3, but h4 also does the trick, right? Yeah, g3 or h4. Wow, it's crazy that like a move as innocuous as this. I guess it wasn't that innocuous, was it? What if you play knight g5 here instead? Instead of knight e5, if white plays knight g5 here, that takes away the e4 square for this knight, which means it basically can't move, and you still threaten here. And then if, I don't know, if like knight h5 happens or something crazy like that, well then, you sort of collect your free piece. You collect your free piece threatening like mate of sorts, but you can also play h4 to defend your knight on g5 and continue to place pressure on f7, right? Knight g5. But as of this position, I think as of knight e5, yeah, the situation looks fucked for white. Wow, that's crazy. This game is so volatile. Knight g5 is probably better. Also knight d4. Yeah, knight d4 also places pressure on. It doesn't place pressure on f7, obviously, but it places pressure on the e6 square, which is interesting here. I like knight g5. I like knight g5 because it still puts pressure on f7. Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, obviously knight g5 doesn't run into the same issue because A, it takes away that square for the knight, and also B, the queen can't come to h4 because there's a knight on g5. I think knight g5 is probably the better move there. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, listen, it doesn't seem like much maybe to someone who is expecting a more bombastic game compared to like the more recent games that we've reviewed, but actually I find this like a really interesting case study just in the first like 7 moves of the game. Need to go see it? All right, take it easy, Lewis. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. Queen h4 sets up for the travel like we said a bit ago. Obvious, right? And if you don't travel that turn, then you travel to this turn, right? Which was the difference between, this turn is like immediate soft mate. I found that knight g5 is usually not super good against strong players because they can defend calmly. That's probably true. We're just loading the roller coaster at this point? Okay, let's get going here. It's not a long game, so I don't feel bad, milking it a little bit here at the beginning. And then kick the knight. Okay, let's see what happens here. Queen h4. Queen h4. What do you do here as white? The problem is... Okay, so on the one hand... This is big yikes. This knight can't actually do anything in time. This knight can't deliver a check. You can always delay white's or the black travel by a turn. The problem is that, like I just said, if the queen doesn't travel to here, it's going to travel to here where it's immediate soft mate and much more difficult to deal with because it's defended. The knight attacking f2 on that square. I mean, you basically immediately lose. So how did this game go on for 17 turns? Is there Jurassic? Maybe you could set up a Jurassic, like queen f3? Then again, you can't Jurassic on f3 because there's a knight there. You can't go for an f7 set because it hasn't been that many moves in the past. I don't know here. Let's just see what Andre does. Let's not speculate wildly. Bishop g4, e6. Okay, this is the only check that the white player can deliver. So I guess that's how the white player survives momentarily. Interesting. If it's 2 turns in the past. All right. This checks the king in the past, and only legal move in the game is this. You've got a queen check next, which I guess is the idea. Oh, and then maybe you can travel? Hold on. Is there actually, like, counterplay here? Wait, sorry. This is obviously the reason that, like, the bishop g4 move was played in order to enable this move, right? Oh, and then maybe you can capture in the past with the knight? Oh, okay, hold on. White's not dead yet. This check was played. I decided to have some fun and barely survived. Neath is here, hey Neath. I believe queen f3 should be playable here. I believe queen f3 loses you the game. Pretty soon. Yeah. So I don't know about all that. You got baited into having some fun. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. All right. Only legal move, because this checks the king in the past, is f takes e6 here. So we're not gonna think about that too much. The obvious follow-up is the queen check, right? Otherwise, you enable a travel onto this board where it's just immediately GG. Bishop defended the immediate travel. Bishop defended the immediate travel? What? What? What do you... Okay, Neath says bishop defended the immediate travel. If there's a queen on f3 here, and then you try... Which bishop defends which travel? Onto this board? King has to take if you travel onto this board. Or is it this board, actually? Sorry, what's the... on this board, instead of bishop e6, you have queen f3 here. Then the queen immediately travels to this board. Only move is takes. Can't travel back because the bishop takes the knight. And then after queen takes here, you take the bishop with check, or you attack with the king, or you attack with the knight and open up the eyes of the queens. Neath B means h4. Oh yeah, sure. Oh, hold on. H4 is much different. then... What? I tend to go for style and winning positions, then lose badly. I see. Bishop didn't defend, actually, but I don't remember why. Neath P means H4, not the board specifically, yeah. Andre versus Dreamer, F7 fireworks. All right, this is a viewer-submitted game by Andre, Alex Bay. This is between Andre and Dreamer. It's an interesting game already, and it hasn't been very long. Oh, Bishop defends H4. Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. So the argument is that if on this board there was Queen F3, because there would be a bishop on G4 defending H4 on the other board. The reason it doesn't defend is that you don't have to. Hold up. Let's see. Let me get my facts straight here. So you'd be traveling onto this board. And it would be white's turn here with the bishop here, right? Here it would be white's turn with the queen here. Or, you know, it'd be white's turn with the queen here. You'd have check. Or probably check. Oh, you've got double check. Then you can mate on F6. But the fact, I think that it lies in the fact that there are two checks here. There's the knight check, but there's also the bishop check. So it doesn't quite work. So he doesn't have to mate on this turn. He can mate the turn afterward. And that gives him the opportunity to, like, if there's a bishop here, then he can set up like H5 on this board or something like that, right? So like, you check with the bishop first, and then you check with the knight, and then it's white's turn on both of these boards. And then white can do something like H5 to kick the G4 bishop, right? And white can't deliver any checks with a piece other than... Oh, then again, if there's a queen on F3, white can sack the queen. No, it's mate immediately if there's a queen on F3, so you can't delay the sack. You can't delay the win by a turn because there's queen F7 mate. So I take back what I said. No, knight takes F2 on -0, then checks king on -1. Of course. I goofed. Yeah. Okay. The knight takes F2 here. We'll check the king on F2 down here. Thank you, Dreamer. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so Neath wasn't wrong for the reason that I thought he was wrong, actually. So I take back my quizzical reaction. I don't think I gave Neath enough credit. But Dreamer has illuminated us both as to why. That's really cute, actually. This F2, knight on F2 takes to check the king in the past. That's neat. That's really nice. That's fantastic. Okay. Alex Bay said I just fixed the dev branch, so soon my princess game should be fine to analyze. Oh, awesome. At least that was what I saw. Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. That's really cute. I actually enjoy that a lot. This game is great already. We're only halfway in. Okay. So, next move is the chattest queen h5 of your life. The idea here, I guess, is to prepare the nighttime travel to this board. Only move takes, and then this is mate. Otherwise, you have to travel, right? But you can't actually do that in time because this queen can simply... Here, to be clear, this is not a check in the past. So it's technically not like only move to capture this queen. But if you don't capture this queen, then you allow the travel to happen, and you no longer have the game-winning travel of your own. So I don't know what else you would do here. So that does save the position, doesn't it? This is interesting. No, not to this board. That wouldn't have been mate because the board is newly created. Ah, yeah, you're right. Okay, this is a cute line. Okay, all right. So let's see. That would have been a travel to this board. If you can delay and travel to this isn't immediate mate. Oh, and actually it's an issue to do. Okay, hold on. You can't do what I said because after the takes backs and then takes with the bishop from mate, this pawn will recapture itself on this board. So actually, you can't do that. You have to stall a turn so that you can capture the pawn on this board with this knight for immediate mate. Immediate soft mate anyway. Okay, so you don't time travel immediately. But I mean, realistically speaking, this is like the only move, right? This is a really interesting line. Okay. This is fantastic, man. Okay. Great. Wow. Super interesting game. All right. So you give up the queen for free, but you've got your own attack. I think this queen might have to sack itself into this knight to prevent that from happening, right? Or you have to set up a weird travel, because it's not easy to defend this pawn from like 2 boards away, especially with all of these pieces up in this. This is interesting. Okay. Wow. I think this queen's going to have to sack into this knight, which makes for a fantastic game. All right. Man, this is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. White doesn't love their position here. But still, 2 moves ago, I thought white was absolutely destroyed. But now it's not so clear. I mean, the only difference is that the white queen sacked itself for no reason, whereas the black queen gets a knight out of the deal. So black ends up material here. There's a mate threat after queen takes. Of course, it just gets blocked. Not sure what you mean. Yeah, not sure what you mean. Queen e2. Oh, sure. Oh, well, that's a good point. No, but yeah, it takes, and it's mate, and you don't have time to do the travel. That's a good point. There is a knight here, isn't there? There is a mate threat here. Okay, so I think it must be necessary as the white player here. You have to force this. That's a good point. I hadn't analyzed the position. You don't want the e2 queen to come into e2. So in order to force this exchange, which I think is forced, you probably play g4 here or f3 here. F3 here is bad because it loses. Well, I don't know if it loses. Yeah, no, f3 is terrible because the queen can go here and then travel. Which I think it can do anyway. Yeah, because f3 is bad because this prepares the travel and is check. So g4 here is the play, right? It's like the only move. Yeah, because otherwise you give black mate on e2. If f3, then you give mate to black with queen h4 and then travel 2 turns into the past. Onto this board where it's doubly... Yikes, that is crazy. Yeah, there's a recapture, so soft mate doesn't even... You can't even save yourself with a travel, right? Interesting. Okay, g4 is the move here, right? Let's read. Let's read notation. Turn 10. Okay, g4 is played on turn 10. Actually, he can't travel there. He's in check. Ah. Wait, where's he in check? He can't travel to that board. Oh. That's a good point you make, Andre. He can't travel to this board. He could travel to this board, but he can't travel to this board because he's in check on board. Okay, so hold on. F3 threatens the knight, enables this check, but after G3, you've got a mate of your own. Right? Yes, but F3 doesn't change much because I still have to capture on E5. Yeah, but you can't capture on E5. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Dreamer's saying that, yes, this is a move rather than G4, but what's going to happen anyway is this. So it's a question of whether you prefer the position where there's a pawn here. Well, no, it does matter. Because here you threaten the knight. You force a knight move here. Like maybe kicking the knight is good. I mean, given that queen takes e5 is going to happen next turn anyway, is it better to play f3 here or g4? I mean, f3 kicks the knight. It's hard to say. I mean, g4 does enable a castle at some point because you don't have an anti-castle travel. I don't know if it's that, you know, germane to the situation, but maybe f3 has more advantages. I think maybe f3 is better just because it kicks the knight after you recapture. And then there's almost a bishop capture. You know, bishop travel capture, but of course pawns recapture themselves. Plus that wouldn't be mate anyway, so okay, that doesn't work. But yeah, it kicks the knight away and then you play like knight c3 afterward. I like the f3, but anyway, my gut instinct was g4, and that's actually what we get in game. Okay, and then in order to prevent the immediate mate right here, or immediate soft mate at least, queen takes c5 happens. Black is up a piece, but white isn't dead. White isn't dead. I mean, Dreamer is a consummate professional. He knows how to convert a material advantage into a winning position. But this is 5D chess. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So let's see what happens. All right. I mean, you would be even Andre is not mad enough to not immediately capture this queen here, right? So what happens next? Okay, what do you do here? You're black. You activate your pieces, right? I think this bishop probably stays where it is. Okay, you want to kick the bishop, which makes sense. I mean, it's in your territory. You want to develop your pieces. We do see knight b d7 on the board. Incredibly sensible move. Why would you move the knight when you don't have to? There's not a great square for the bishop. And you would probably enjoy a move like bishop d6 anyway, and the only way that you can do that is if you kick the white bishop away first. I mean, obviously you wouldn't want to do it while this bishop has the long diagonal and you undefend this pawn, but you know, whatever. Rook g8, followed up by bishop d6, etc. I mean, developing move, right? You've got a material advantage. There's a piece on your side of the board. If you can develop and kick it with tempo, fantastic. So knight b d7, textbook. Bishop f4 happens, which makes sense. Well, okay, so you have a decision here, right? You can either re-frappuccino this bishop, which maintains control of this long diagonal. There is maybe something to be said for covering this diagonal here so that the bishop can't develop. Like that, and also you threaten like a back rank mate in the future, or you know, you can get this bishop in here to perform shenanigans at some stage. Bishop f4 is more annoying. It maybe sets you up for a travel. Where would you travel to? Hold on, let's do some math here. F5, f4, f3, f2. There's a bishop f2 travel. Or sorry, f7. I don't know why my brain farted there, but if you play bishop f4 here, you've got f5, 6, 7. Oh, I did that wrong. Sorry. f4, f5, f6. Okay, f7, and there's a queen here. So it doesn't quite work. You do maybe win a queen and get the king out onto this diagonal, right? Yeah, a bishop, sorry, it's an f8 travel here and an f7 travel here. Keep in mind, I'm super low on time here. I spent a lot on that queen sack. All right, that makes sense. We can't blame Andre. But is this good? I mean, the king can move away, but then you win a queen, but you were already up a queen, so you're going into a position where you're... You win a queen in this position, right? Takes. And the king is now out in the open, but you don't have, like, your kingside bishop to capitalize. Is it so easy to cover the diagonal, though? Questionable. Maybe that travel was good. Andre there had like 3 minutes, me about 15. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow. Yeah, no, that's rough. But I think maybe well, if you're low on time, maybe I might actually just ship this. Being low on time, like, all right, let's get myself increment or a delay. Let's make something out of nothing. I'm already down material. Anyway, f4 is played. That's the reason that otherwise you'd probably want to maintain the diagonal. Am I wrong about that? Well, maybe you want to like cover the diagonal yourself in case there's like an f2 sack. Not really Dreamer style. I guess you also want to cover, there's a bishop sack onto f2 that's going to happen any minute now, right? So from that point alone, bishop f4 is quite sensible. Where does this queen sack go to now? Or this bishop travel. Ooh, one turn into the future, and this bishop travel is actually non-trivial. Wow. There's a bishop travel. Okay. Right. Black's bishop travel, you also want to mitigate, so it all makes sense. IDK having a potential for travel is always good. I mean, the more I look at it, the more f4 makes sense. Black's got travel opportunities, and if you can nip them in the butt, granted that you can't prevent a travel onto this board, can you? It's really bad. Yeah, because nothing's on the F file forever, and this doesn't cover in time. Wait, are we gonna see this? This must result in a travel, right? Probably next turn, because I think it's lethal on that board. Then again, we've got 5 more turns. Okay, let's see. Bishop f4. Okay, immediate bishop travel. Yes, okay. Right. All right. So it was like the last thing I checked, which is a bit embarrassing, but makes a lot of sense. I mean, here, you can't move the king. Well, okay, you can exile the king. And I think exiling the king might be like the only way out here, because otherwise there's like a forced mating sequence, right? Just here, check, and then mate, and it's too far into the... You can't Jurassic, you can't do anything here as white. So I think the only way out is to exile. So you would move to one of these boards, probably the earliest one, yeah. I had easy conversion there, like g5, bishop g3, knight takes g3, h takes g3, bishop g7, and so on. I feel you. Yeah, for sure. Bishop g3. Sorry, g5, bishop g3, knight takes g3, a takes g3, bishop g7, and so on. Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that, like, if you were to play on the board, black is much better here. But I mean, I travel. Then again, you put the queens on the board, but you're in a dominant position. I don't know. Maybe saving it, because it's not like white can travel too far anyway, so you give him opportunities. I don't know that you can do much with the exile. I mean, I probably would have made this move. Right? You can also check. Well, then again, Yeah, like trading down here. Let me say, especially with all the time that he had, I would have expected Dreamer to go for the solid conversion. You know, if you trade down, I mean, you're up material. You get this bishop out of the way, you know, and you've got this bishop here. White didn't have a great travel immediately because it went to the board where the black queen was staring down f7, right? It went to this board, so yeah, I guess that's a bit surprising. But hey, I would have done this move. Don't get me wrong. So here, we got the big old travel. Okay, as anticipated. Okay, it's to turn 6 on this board, right? If you capture the bishop here, which is like your only other legal move, basically. Otherwise, you lose to bishop takes here. If you go king here, and if you go king captures, then you've got immediate knight e4 check, queen h4 mate. So that's no bueno. So you got to run the king away so that there are no black boards with a king present. Makes sense. There is eventually the opportunity for a mate, a quadrigonal mate on h3 with this queen, because g2 disappears. So h3, g2, and then f1 here. I mean, beggars can't be choosers. It's also not a very accessible square. Anyway, this is White's, as far as I'm concerned, this is White's only move. Bishop takes f2 still winning, but the way I performed it was a disaster. Okay, let's see what happens here. So the king goes to turn 6, f1. Yep. Turn 6, f1. Now we have on this board, there's plus 1L. Bishop g4 takes f3. Do you want to grab the knight here? I'll admit I'm a bit surprised. I feel like 94 here is better. No, because you open up your queen to get out here. And also you defend f2, and you can always like get your queen out here and then capture here with the knight defended here, probably, right? As opposed to trading down your offensive pieces. I don't think there's a great way that White can turn that around. Probably 94. 94 is the play here, right? What happens in the game is that we get bishop g4 takes f3 here. Yeah, I can't help but think that knight e4 was a cleaner conversion. I wonder if Dreamer agrees. This is what we get. Obvious bishop recapture is obvious. Like, what else are you going to do? Yeah, the issue is that now this knight actually can't come in here because this bishop defends. Okay, it's a bit messy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Black is still a heavy favorite here. I mean, this board has 2 kings on it, for fuck's sake. You know, it's going to be a nightmare, but... Oh, now there's also this... It's murky. Knight e4 was devastating, actually. Yeah, okay. We've got confirmation from the 2 players that knight e4 was the clear move there. Yeah, you really get wrecked, huh? Oh, jeez. Opening up... What do you do here? Oh, and then this is check, and then... Oh, disgusting. Yeah, no. Anyway, okay, this is what happened. In light of the news that this exchange happened on f3, what's the easiest way to win here as black? How do we approach? I just rushed with bishop takes f3 and regretted it a lot. Yeah, okay. Okay. Threatening even a travel on e2. Oh, that's a good point. Wow, that's rough, man. Yeah, even like knight out here. I mean, if you capture f2 here, that's straight fucked, right? Like, oh, as the knight actually. Yeah, like if you play like knight e4 here and then you get your queen to h4 like on this board, or something like that, then like knight takes f2 becomes mate, right? And then bishop from the top would have hecked board appears on top. Ah, that's beautiful. Right. Okay, Andre's completely right. If you had like a knight here, like on this board, then you just capture here, and then you've got this knight on e2 checks this king, and this bishop on which it is black's turn checks the king here on this board, which would be created up here. Oh, and that's mate. Oh, wow, that's nice. Even simpler, knight takes f2. Knight takes f2 on the spot, wins. Because it's not check yet, but I mean, what else are you going to do but take here? We get the queen, but it's not mate. Isn't Andre's idea kind of simpler because you win a turn earlier and bishop even defends the knight? Oh, wait, what? Bishop defends the knight. But this bishop hasn't taken on f3, so it doesn't defend the knight, right? I like Andre's plan better. That top bishop, I picked the most painful. Yeah, okay, so let's see what you do here. King takes knight isn't possible. The top bishop. This bishop. The top bishop. This bishop. King takes knight isn't possible. Which bishop? Am I taking crazy pills? Oh, after knight takes c2 travel. No. I get that. But that's not. No. F2 bishop. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you. But I'm not talking about the travel. I'm talking about what Dreamer was talking about with the knight f2 immediately after knight e4, rather than the travel to e2 from e4. Anyway, we're splitting hairs here. I think we all see there are many creative ways to win. However, this is the line that when you see mate in one, look for better. This has long been the philosophy on the channel, and I'm glad to see that Dreamer has adopted it. So, I didn't get any water there. So fundamentally, so profoundly, right? So let's see. How do you convert here? It's not clear. It's not clear. After this exchange, now minus 1L, bishop g4 takes e2. I think you're setting up probably for a travel on the bottom board just to get a king up to here. Wait, you can still... Can't you still do this? And then it's mate? No, because it's not check. And you can move this king. Yeah. Well, not to mention, like, you can take the knight and this king... Or this... No, you can't do that because it's black's turn here. So you have to move... This is only move... move king here, right? So you don't have the immediate travel. But this bishop is going to do work down here. After king here, it's not clear how you convert. Okay, so, all right, the travel is too fancy. We're getting too fancy. This doesn't quite work. But up here, we capture, I mean, sure. Makes sense. And then bishop takes g2, cross timeline, noise. Let's see. Hold on. What did I say? I was going to do this. And then necessary here. Ah, there it is. Okay, Dreamer found it. Nice. Okay. I knew there was something. There was something to this. Okay, this forces king here, and then this bishop here takes on g2, which is defended, and then checks the king in the pass. All right, we found it. We found the mate, even after bishop takes f3. Okay, great. There we go. That's instructive. Cute, very cute. Right, the knight move here. Okay, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I really like that. Okay. Anyway, that's not what happened. Here we took here, and then what did we do on the other board? Oh, queen b6. All right. Hold on. What's Dreamer up to? Queen b6. Okay, hold on. Queen b6. I mean, here you're trying to capitalize on this diagonal. Let's see here. Here. So next turn it's here. So he does it a turn early. I don't know that it would benefit him to do it a turn later, but this does force. What does it force? This bishop here is safe, right? You could also play c4. But I don't, it's not immediate, right? It's not immediate. And there isn't enough room between these two timelines for the queen to go like across timeline. Well, you can always travel. You still have a travel as black. So maybe setting up a travel? I guess I don't know what else you'd do. I had so many winning ideas in front of my eyes that I started spilling it here and there. Dude, I've totally been there. All right, that's fair enough. Completely understandable from Dreamer. He's just like, I don't know what to do. There are so many ideas that are so strong, and he just kind of did all of them. Fair enough. Okay, you develop the queen there. I mean, you force a move here from white. Whatever, you're going to win on this board sooner or later. All right, here's what we do. How does white respond? I mean, here you take this bishop, right? You have to take the bishop because it is checking this king down here. So that is forced. Can't really threaten anything with... Okay, well, here you want to close up this diagonal. Probably, right? Okay, so we do it with the queen instead of the bishop, keeping the f file locked up. Makes some amount of sense. Andre, you also have to remember, is down to like 2 minutes here max. He's really on the back foot here, but you have to cover the triagonal. And there isn't like a close the door situation that can go on, which makes sense. Okay, sure. This is what we get out of Andre. Okay, so actually he plays queen e2 on both boards. Right. Here we've got queen b6 to b4, which threatens a travel maybe to... What does this do? Travel to this board and then attack with this bishop on this board, but you have to do... All right, let's just see what Dreamer does. Let's just see the moves first. Okay, this is +1L, right? Queen b6 b4. That's got the idea has to be to travel to a board where you duplicate these kings and then attack with these bishops. Maybe, I think, probably, right? Maybe. On the other board, he does knight e4. Okay, knight e4. Ah, okay. So, I mean, you don't allow the queen to capture here. But maybe it's actually forced. The only thing I'd be concerned about is that if you don't win soon, then this queen can hop in here and then travel to any of these boards. Actually, it can't. You can't travel because this bishop checks this king all the time. Oh, actually, okay. White actually doesn't have a game-winning travel to any of these boards because these kings, he'll put himself in check, which is funny because this bishop is here. Okay. Defend this bishop makes complete sense. That's fantastic. Okay. Where are we at now? Okay, we're almost at the end of the game. What a game. Okay, queen e2 goes to h5 with 0 time on the clock. You see this idea as Andre and you're like, counterplay, please. I've only got so many queens. I don't want to throw them away. Oh, the present has to be coming into play soon too, right? Not soon enough. Not soon enough. That bishop really did travel from downtown, man. Okay. You're kind of playing to survive as white here, waiting for the future to catch up so that maybe you can do anything. Okay. The f6 sack makes sense. You want to buy time so that you can win the game with like a queen here. A queen that's defended, right? I totally get that. I totally get that. Here, I feel like you've got to be close to a win as black. No. Sonoy says, yeah, I used the wrong program for recording 5D PGN. I don't have remaining move time recorded. It's all right. We'll make do with what we have. There's got to be something here. You can't really duplicate. Like here takes, and it's one turn from a win. So that's not the move, right? Yeah, but how would you convert here? If queen takes, and then this bishop checks that king. Oh, it would work in one. Okay, in one turn you have a win. No, because he can just go knight takes. Like if you go here and he goes knight takes and this is no longer check, so you don't have like 2 checks to catch up to where this bishop checks that king. I don't know. Can you maybe... You can't go to a board up here. But I see that there's only one more turn left of the game. So this is a mate puzzle here. How do we get mate as black? There's no king on this board, so the only other option... I don't really see how you convert from this board. I'm probably just missing it. And man, a knight on e4 at any point in time would give, like... It would be stonks, but unfortunately... It doesn't happen. So the only other king that you can attack is on this board. How do you attack a king on this board? On the middle timeline. What travels do you have? You take this queen, but then you're not checking this king. Also, it can capture itself back, which isn't fantastic. Or no, it can't, because that queen is moved. Oh, we found it. Okay. We found it. All right. It's right here, right? All right, we found the mate, boys. Okay. Black has mate in one here. Right? Because this knight checks this king down here. Okay. All you have to do is look at all the legal moves of the pieces and you find it. That's great. There's the best part left. Oh my god, we're one turn from the end. How is that possible? Does Dreamer not do this? I was so relaxed there, I genuinely missed the Queen H5 move. Oh my god, Dreamer, that's hilarious. I was thinking... Dreamer... I missed it too. Hold on, okay. Guys, I had a real Pepega moment. The reason is, I was like, Queen H5 actually isn't a big deal because there's no travel. There's no travel because this bishop will always be attacking these kings. But it's 2D. It's 2D, mate. Oh my god, it's so Pepega. Even if Dreamer did do this? Dude. I missed the on the board, mate. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. Okay. Alright, sorry. What does Dreamer do here? Queen H5 happens. Okay, we found Dreamer's move. We found the winning move. I think the winning move. Is there any way to stop this? No, right? You win before Queen H5, am I wrong? I thought my next move would work. Okay. So this move happens. Now we have... Oh, wow. Okay, so this is in time for this bishop sack. Ah, okay. Wow. All right, so we get this sack. But that doesn't buy you time, does it? Here, then here, Queen H5. Oh, he's separating. Ah, okay, of course. Okay, so for aforementioned reasons. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, this makes so much sense. Okay, hold on. So, I mentioned just a second ago the reason that this doesn't work. It's because this bishop always checks this king, right? Yeah. This is exactly why I thought Queen H5 is no problem, right? I missed the Queen H5 on the board, but it didn't matter because you win a turn earlier anyway. Okay, so the reason... Wow, that's so good. Okay, so this is the reason that you can't travel, even though this is like on its face a game-winning travel, right? You can do this travel, which also delivers check, beforehand, which I didn't realize. I thought that this was still way too far out for this bishop travel to, but it doesn't need to. You can do any travel. This doesn't even need to be back there, right? You can just do this, and then do this sack. Sorry, here. And then there's no check, which is kind of amazing. Okay. Wow. What the hell do you do now? Is this mate? Andre had mate. The only reason that he didn't do this, he did this all the way back here. Am I wrong? Does it happen on the wrong turn? Maybe it happens on the wrong turn. Sorry, when does this travel happen? Oh my god, because he did the maximum length travel, it gave Dreamer... No, am I wrong? Hold on. What am I talking about? Wait, what? Minus 2L. Hold on. Sorry. Let me get my bearings right here. Bro! Wait, sorry. I don't know why I keep doing that travel. It doesn't make any sense. Hold on. This happens. Wait, what? Oh my god. Dude, Andre had mate. Andre had mate. The only reason he lost. Dude, he thought it, oh my god, he thought it was check. Oh, Andre. Guys, okay. Black to move mate in one here. All right, it looks like white won, right? Oh, Andre. Oh my god, look at this. All right. There's a check here, right? And the only way to get out of it is to exile the king. Oh, wait, you can exile to... Okay, this actually isn't even mate here because you can exile like this. Oh, no, sorry, you can't because then this king will... Yeah, so if you had made the... If he had made the other timeline way in the future, then you would have won. Right? Because then there wouldn't be the opportunity to exile. And more importantly, sorry, there isn't an exile because the king, the only places that the king can move to, this queen still checks that king in the future or whatever, right? But Dreamer's next move was queen on h4, turn 9 plus 2L to 0L turn 7 f2 mate. Oh my god. Oh, Andre, you had the mate, my guy. He gave his opponent the queen that Dreamer needed to win the game. If he had just done the bishop any travel, like if he had yoed his king one turn in the past, Andre had mate. Oh my god, Dreamer. Oh, Dreamer missed mate so many times. Andre blundered so hard. But then Andre gave his opponent the only tool. The only legal move that Dreamer had there, basically, was to win the game. I mean, almost. Holy shit. Oh no. What a game. Dude, this is fantastic. Andre should have done the tricky branching 2 puzzle. Oh no. Oh, dude, this was a great game. Oh, it was such a advanced branching 2. Dude, this is beautiful. No, I mean, he saw that if he makes an intermediate timeline, then he has this travel which he doesn't have otherwise because these bishops, attack these kings, which we saw ahead of time. And we thought, oh no, we're shit out of luck as white. But he did the only move, literally the only way that Andre could have performed this and not immediately won on the spot was exactly the way that he did it, because he thought that the bishop here would be checking a king. Like, that this bishop would be checking this king, but this is a black turn board, so he just... Oh, no. I did it because I thought it was check. Yeah, it's clear why. I mean, it's clear in hindsight. Listen, you're low on time. You think, okay, I'll make an intermediate board. I'll give them check, even though it's not check, but I'll do it anyway. And it sort of checked the king, but didn't, you know? Yeah, he could have totally ignored it because he didn't have to play on this turn because he could have won a turn earlier. But you also didn't have to, you know... like, there was nowhere for this king to run if you didn't put a board here. So there was no option at all. This game was fantastic. This was a great game. Oh, man. It was short. There was an interesting, like, super sharp opening, you know, trap, like, for both sides. And it was, like, Papega games, or moments throughout the game, but also... this was great, man. This is like one of my favorite games. This is one of my favorite games I've analyzed. This is great. At the end, if you zoom out, the game looks neat. That does look kind of neat, doesn't it? It looks like an FTL ship. I've been revisiting a bit of FTL lately. I saw Northern Lion playing a bit of it. I think it's cute.